So it turns out magic might be real, and it may very well have had something to do with me winning this tournament and this very strange miniature. And I will get to this in a second, but first a little disclaimer. In this video I will be talking about magic and magical thinking, and about how you can find a magical approach to your hobby and how that might lead to unexpected consequences. In no way am I endorsing replacing logic and common sense with magical thinking. I am not a fan of like alternative medicine and all of that stuff, and I'm not a super esoteric guy. So if you are like scared by the woo of it all, just bear with me for this video. I promise you there will be something here for you to take away. I'm gonna draw something here, and you tell me if you've seen this before. Now, does this look familiar to any of you? If you play Warhammer or D&D or any other fantasy role-playing games, you've probably seen this before. It is a symbol known as a Chaos Star, and it was actually invented in the 70s by Michael Moorcock, the author of a series of fantasy stories called Elric of Melniboné. And in these stories, the forces of chaos and law are fighting each other. And this symbol represents sort of energy or forces moving into all directions to represent chaos. That symbol got picked up by popular culture and made it into occult circles. So real life magicians and witches were using this symbol to represent their practice of magic. It became a very important symbol for what's known as chaos magic. It also found its way into Warhammer, of course, as the symbol of chaos, the forces of chaos in Warhammer as well. So the Chaos Star is a symbol that intrinsically links our hobby with actual magic and occult practices in real life. Now, if you go digging a little bit, you'll find that there's lots of comic authors and fantasy authors and people involved in nerdy hobbies that are also involved in magic and occultism. And it makes sense, right? There was the Satanic Panic, and everybody is already associating all of this fantasy stuff with Satanism and demons and summoning entities. And so it makes sense that both of those things would kind of attract the same sort of people. Now, when I'm talking about actual real life magic, what do I mean by that? Because we all know the forces of nature are not something we can change. The physicality of the world will behave a certain way. There is no way for me to look at a stone and tell it to levitate, and then it does that. Right? I cannot ignite a fire with my mind. Or can I? The basis of chaos magic is actually that nothing is inherently real, and everything you experience can be influenced by your own beliefs. So if you believe the world to be a good place, then you will find the world to be a good place, and vice versa. You all know about like manifestation, right? Like manifest your destiny and then it happens. That's like part of that. And to me, that's always been very interesting. The idea that you can sort of influence the way you perceive the world around you by forming your own beliefs. And that makes sense, right? If I have a strong internal belief that I can achieve great results with miniature painting, that will make me commit to it more. That will make me seek out better training and practice more and learn new techniques. And that will result in the end in me actually being a better painter. As a kid, I would always put blankets over like 2 chairs and a table and then hide underneath with a little glowing magical ball like this one. And I would pretend I was a great wizard. I would cast made-up divination spells. I always used to collect like fossils and stuff like that. And so I would get those out and like throw some bones. And I loved that magical feeling under that blanket. Now, of course, we grow up and that magic tends to kind of disappear when we get older. And I think that's a bit of a bummer. If I enjoy this, why shouldn't I get to experience this? And so lately, I've been trying to reconnect with that part of myself that enjoys spectacle like this. Whether you agree with it or not, there are people practicing magic today. That magical practice can take many forms and everyone is a little bit different. Some people like to build little altars in their garden and leave little offerings for forest spirits. And whether you believe in forest spirits or not, I think that leaving offerings to nature in your garden will bring you closer to the land you're living on and the world around you. And so that's sort of my philosophy on these things. You don't have to believe that there is actual real magic. Just simply immersing yourself in that magical mindset will make for meaningful changes in your life. We are emotional creatures, and sometimes I believe we need a little bit of whimsy. Now, what does all of this have to do with me winning a tabletop tournament? Well, maybe this thing is responsible for me winning that tournament because of a ritual I did with Tine Fieldling back at Kamping Kitbash. Because while everyone was still at the kitbashing hall playing a last game, so ominous, Tine and I met up in the woods for a secret ritual.
That's really nice.
Literally nobody knew we were out here doing this. Tine had brought some of her magic stuff in preparation for this because we had planned this from the start. And so we set up shop under this lone lantern in the middle of the night, and Tine started us off by greeting the four corners of the earth and the spirits that inhabit them. And we started by lighting this little candle to get the ritual space started. The idea of this ritual was to take one of the minis that was kitbashed collectively by multiple people and then painted collectively as well. And we wanted to enchant this miniature. We wanted to imbue it with creative energy.
I think for me it's the spirit of community. All of the positive things, like the coming together and the forming a unified front against awful things, that all stems from the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
The community has to come first.
What is the second thing you would like to infuse this miniature?
The creation aspect, the creativity and the art of it all. Because I think once you have the community, then they can come together and create something new, and that can inspire the future.
We might share a common dream for how we want the world to be.
That is nice. In a way, trying to manifest a different future.
Yeah.
It could be step one is come together. So
Step 2 is
community.
create.
Step 2 is create, and step 3 is make it better.
Yeah.
Change. I like that.
I also like change because I think it's change in a lot of ways. The main thing I like about organizing an event like this is because people change from strangers into friends.
Yeah, totally.
And people change into artists.
Yeah. And people change from Warhammer fans to freaks. Yeah.
Freaks. There you go.
I love that. It's a really nice sigil.
And with that sigil created by Tine, we were ready to start our ritual. We poured out some beer and we lit some candles representing friendship and community. And then we burned the sigil and spoke a few words. And then we imbued the miniature with fire and paint water and wax from these candles.
Literally imbuing the mini with friendship and creativity.
And so that's how we enchanted this miniature with the spirit of community and creation. And even if you don't believe in actual magic, tell me that that does not make you feel something when you look at this miniature. Now, what I didn't tell Tine at the time was I had a special secret objective behind this ritual. Before I went to Kamping Kitbash, I told myself I wanted to try a little experiment. I wanted to do a magical ritual to make me better at gaming, because up until that point I had only been a painter and modeler basically. And so knowing that I was going to do a ritual with Tine, I thought maybe I should try to sneak a little extra something in there. And so what I did is I was focusing my intention on the ritual we were doing, but in the back of my mind I had this idea of trying to magically become better at tabletop tournaments. And while I was building and painting my miniatures for my Doom company, the miniatures that I used in the tournament for this game, this miniature was set right above my painting desk, radiating all of that energy. And those miniatures that had been bathed in this positive energy, in this Kamping Kitbash magic, did end up winning me the tournament. Now, does this mean magic is real? Maybe, that's for you to decide. And that's what makes this beautiful, right? Magic is not science. If you want to believe that this miniature is enchanted or maybe even haunted, and that is up to you to believe, and nothing bad will come of that belief. And if you want to believe that this haunted miniature made me win the tournament, then how nice to be able to live in a world where things like that are possible. That last night at Kamping Kitbash felt so special and magical, stealing away in the middle of the night into unknown woods with some people I had only just met, some of whom I admired creatively immensely, was magic. How else can you describe that? We were walking through the forest at night, telling ghost stories, kind of scaring each other, seeing some weird stuff moving in the bushes. Walking the empty kitbashing halls at Kamping Kitbash felt like a church. That spiritual energy of just so many people having an experience together that felt like it had changed the energy of the room. And there was a sort of reverence for this room. When people were saying their goodbyes, the kit-bashing tub in the middle of the room felt like communion. I believe a great part of what gives religion its power is inherent to humans and our ability to sort of fill the room with energy if something feels meaningful. And so to come back to chaos magic, it's your belief that shapes the world around you. So if you believe that magic is real, then it might just be. The world is in an awful state right now. There's a lot of reasons that we have to deal with reality right now and be present and be logical and fight for what's right. And so allowing some magic into those parts of our lives, like our hobby, that are ours to influence and shape and change the way we really want them to be, I think that is a powerful step into shaping your own reality. The occult and fantasy and tabletop miniatures and role-playing games will always be linked. And if you can find ways to bring some magic into your hobby, then I think that's a beautiful thing. In a video last year, I shared some miniatures by Twisted Spire, which is a sister company of Warp Miniatures, and they had made Siren's Oath, which is a miniature game about mermaids or sirens and their magical ritual. And it was actually created by Wingshan, who is a practicing witch. I shared a little piece of an interview that I did with her in that video. And today I want to share some more of that interview with you, where we talk about magic in the hobby.
When people play this, is the idea that they are practicing magic?
I think my kind of experience of magic, and I feel like I've been a practicing witch my whole life, but I think magic to me is a very fluid thing that's all about intention. And I don't like to scare people away by like, oh, you're gonna like do like an actual ritual, and you have to be kind of careful with that. So even I don't know if you know Caesar Inc.'s Doom Song, that RPG. So I was the witch who cast a curse on the coins. So I had coins in that game, and they approached me. I didn't know them, and they asked me to curse them.
Yeah.
But I was very careful to make sure that it didn't curse the player,
yes,
but the character. But yeah, for me, magic is a tool, and you can believe and be as woo-woo as you like with it. But for me, magic is also so much, about the subconscious and training the mind a certain way. But for me, the magic is getting together with your coven and connecting emotionally and building that world. So for me, that is magic.
Especially as a kid, I was very close with nature, and I always felt like there were like these nature spirits around, and I had like a real connection to the land wherever I was. And I kind of lost that when I got older, and as a teenager, there was no space for that. I moved from the Netherlands, from like a small kind of town into, it's not that small, but it feels very suburban, to Berlin. It was like a large East Berlin public school. So that was like a culture shock, and there was not really like space for magic there. And so I kind of did like a hard switch from kind of an esoteric spiritual person to like a purely materialistic nihilistic worldview. All of that woo-woo is crap, and like it leads to people not wanting to do vaccines, and it's all like dangerous, and conspiracy theories and stuff like that. So for me, it all had like a very negative connotation for a while. And during the last years also, while I feel like I'm kind of like finding myself or like growing into myself, I've kind of started to find that again, that kind of lost magic, and also recontextualize magic for myself. To me, it's more nuanced and more subtle and more about, like you said, the subconscious and psychology and the way we kind of interact with the world. And I think all of us practice magic and rituals every day without knowing. Letting that occultism back into my life has really, for me, made stuff click that didn't click before.
What is really interesting with occult, what you're saying, is like the anti-vaccines and like the kind of wellness, I suppose.
The plastic Buddhas at the front door.
I call it like avocado capitalism.
Oh yeah.
Which is that idea of wellness and self-care, is this idea that you remove yourself from society, fix yourself, that's purely your responsibility, and then you re-enter society to be a productive member. And so for me, actually, I discovered witchcraft and magic through this idea very much of the coven. So a lot of my practice is about community and is about community rituals. So during COVID, I started a monthly box that I sent out to a membership across the world called Tender Coven. And it was a box with ritual materials and a zine, and it would interview an artist and have a poster and all these wonderful things. And we'd get together online to, I think we hexed Donald Trump, we did full moon circles, journaling workshops. So for me, it was very much actually being a witch is being a witch is first and foremost a political act of saying that you will stand up to make society or kind of the hegemonic forces at play.
But it is, as you say, so important to remind ourselves that it's all about community. And now more than ever, I feel like fascist governments and corporations want us to isolate and remove ourselves from our communities. They want to remove third places from our day-to-day life where we gather and kind of share ideas. The way to combat misinformation and right-wing propaganda is to form communities and talk to each other and be exposed to the realities of the people living around you. And the way to make that impossible for people is to make it really, really convenient to just stay in your home by yourselves. And so I agree, a spiritual goal should be self-improvement, but I don't think we can do that alone. I was always into creepy stuff as a kid. I used to read like the R.L. Stein books. Goosebumps. I used to read Goosebumps and then transitioned into Stephen King when I got older. That like eventually evolved into me sitting on my laptop late at night reading like paranormal forums about people's alien encounters and being too scared to go to sleep, right? So for me, all of my touch points with occultism and magic have been very like from a Western society point of view. Would you say for you there's like large differences coming from like the Chinese folklore and all of that?
There was always families who had one person in their family as a role of a shaman, who would be the one who was in charge of all the rituals of communicating between the realms of the living and the dead, spirit realm. And there were shamanisms in like the high courts, and they would produce all these rituals and magical practices, and then Confucianism came in and apparently really kind of took a lot of that thinking away. So it was so fascinating, but I came to that when I was looking at kind of Western witchcraft and spell work, and then I was like, wait a minute, my mom and my auntie do really weird things. Like they make me do some weird stuff. So every birthday my mom would boil me an egg and she'd stick an incense in and she'd make me walk around the street. The incense went down and I was like, Mom, what? This is so
on your birthday,
why are you doing that? Like, why have I done? She was like, oh, it's just so you're not lazy the year. It's like it's a ritual for anti-lazy ritual.
That is so funny. That's like the most not wholesome way that could have gone.
It's like the most Asian, like kind of capitalist, like almost like perversion of like
productive. This magic ritual is to make you productive.
Literally. And then as I got older, I didn't think of that as magic. But then as I got older, I was like, well, that's totally a spell.
Yeah.
That's 100%. And like the symbolism of the egg on your birthday,
Exactly,
like
yeah.
rebirth, the incense, kind of burning down
the time.
My auntie would put like red packets which symbolize wealth at the corners of, under the bed. But I was fascinated at the fact that these rituals and superstitions and folk practices were passed down often very much from a kind of matrilineal line.
Yeah.
Because the men in the family would go, it's very secular in like this capitalist kind of world. It's like, it's not important. The magic is not of interest. It's always the aunties or the mothers who are doing these, putting the family shrines together. So it was, for me, it was about understanding magic in Chinese culture. That was like, wait a minute, this isn't official Taoism, this isn't official Buddhism. What is this? And what it was witchcraft.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if magic is real or not. Last year I cast my first spell and I felt pretty strange doing it, but I had some great instructions on how to do it. And it was what's known as a 4 corners ritual, where you light 4 candles and you dedicate them to the 4 elements in the 4 corners of the earth. And I enchanted this ring, which is my favorite silver ring. I wear it all the time. This was during a time in my life where I was struggling quite a bit. I have shared some of this with you on the channel. It was hard for me to find work after being laid off at my previous company. And I was generally feeling pretty down about myself and not really confident in my own abilities to do the things that I thought I should be doing. And so I enchanted this ring with the intention of creating a sort of invisible bond between me and other people like me, and trying to bring those closer to me and me closer to them. And what can I say, man? I really think it's worked. I have found all of you guys through this YouTube channel. I have found so many amazing creative people I have worked with over the past year. I've started new friendships. I have been granted great opportunities. And of course, we can rationalize this. If I'm at a pub and someone says like, oh, maybe after this we should hang out at my place. I have like a studio there. And I'm like kind of tired. Previously, I may have just said, you know what, maybe not for me tonight. But now, wearing this ring, of course, I've got like connection at the front of my mind. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is a great opportunity for me to meet some other people and maybe form some connections, right? So that's like a logical, psychological way of looking at it and explaining why the magic might have worked, right? The beautiful thing is that doesn't change anything, because the end result is the same, right? Wearing this ring now makes me more likely to connect with people that are on the same wavelength as I am. So take from that what you will, but I hope it's something positive. To be really honest with you, I was pretty scared to make this video, and I've kind of been putting it off for a long time, because I don't want to be misconstrued. I don't want you to think that I'm some kind of nut. I don't want you to take the wrong message from this video. I'm not saying abandon rationale and go live inside of a dream cave somewhere and take a bunch of magic mushrooms and go spacing out into the void. What I'm trying to say is you can mystify your boring everyday life to feel more meaningful and personal to you. And I think that is what magic really is. Did you know knocking on wood is meant to appease the spirits of the trees that might still live in your furniture? When we gather around the Christmas tree every year, when we go looking for Easter eggs at Easter time, when we form angels in the snow using our bodies, when we brush our teeth, all of these are rituals. They are what keeps the fabric of our day-to-day life together. So being conscious of the way that we can create and influence the rituals that shape our days, I think is empowering. I mean, all of us are using magic once to create something from nothing. You just have to look at these things a little bit more abstract and with a bit of an open mind to see that you don't have to interpret this so literally. Are you picking up what I'm putting down yet? Everything's magic. If you're still here, I want to thank you for sticking around and allowing me to share this topic that might be a little bit different, a little bit strange to some of you. Are any of you maybe practicing magicians or witches? Are there other ways where you try to introduce ritual and magic into your hobby? I would love to know more. Please leave a comment if you do. The best way for you to support the channel is by becoming a member. If you become a member, you gain access to exclusive videos, one of which I've just released, where me and my brother rank some of the Age of Sigmar armies and all of their models on a tier list. It's very fun. It's sort of a long form podcast format. You also gain access to our Discord, where you can join a community of like-minded hobbyists. I've also uploaded the STLs for the modular storage boxes that I shared in a recent video. You'll get all of that if you become a member of the channel. So thank you, all of the existing members, for supporting the channel and keeping the lights on around here. I'll be back with more regular hobby content very soon, and I might share some more magic, occult, spooky, wookie stuff with you guys. If you're into that, I have some ideas. Let's get freaky with it. What the hell, right? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.